everyone, welcome to another Green Dragons Gaming. Without us, they never feel like winners. Without them, we could look so good. So again, we're based out of Westchester, Pennsylvania. We'll actually, local game store that we'll be playing at is going to be called the Games Keep. If you're in the area, do me a favor, reach out to us. We still do basements and stuff like that, but reach out to us. Good group, local guys. We play a variety of games. This just happens to be the one that we like to report on. So with that said, 2.0 is dropping very shortly. So this is in preparation to try to show everyone what's kind of going on. So, and in which case I'm also moving on from my dwarves, which is I will still be playing my dwarves, and you will still see battle reports from me on the dwarves. However, Dan, for those that are on the boards, at Dan, basically he got a huge dwarf army. And to help with varieties and things like that, I'm going to start probably going back over my Equitane. You'll probably see me start playing some demons. So I have to start putting that army together once I repaint my Equitane. And we'll see what happens as time goes on. So with that said, here is another version 2.0 release. So it's going to be Orcs and Goblins versus Kingdom of Equitane. So it's Ryan, aka Pretty Boy, versus myself, SirMC at 2015. And there's a... Where did I get that pick? I know I got the pick from the internet, but I want to say that is from World of Warcraft, I want to say. I have no idea. It was like on Pinterest on the internet, so that's where that's from. Now, as I said, this is going to be version 2.0. We're playing 4500, and to give you guys a little bit more of a taste of what I have been doing, kind of going back to my old style, is I'm going to give you what we have here and give you a little bit more actually insight as to what these things can do. So here is his Iron Orc Warlord with Warcry. Those of you who like listening to oh God, what's James's internet name? Well, anyway, he would yell, "Warg! What's going on YouTube? Why can't I remember James's Chaihammer? Oh my God!" So whenever you hear Chaihammer go, "Warg! Calling out the Warg!" So it's now called Warcry, and it's Warg, whatever you want to call it. He's got a backstabbing dirk. He's got the protection of pinching, or the plates of tuk-tuk, and the flask of troll ale. So Warcry is again calling out the Warg. It's one time only. The backstabbing dirk, I believe, gives you a reroll to wounds with a hand weapon. Then you have the protection of pinching. So if memory serves, he got to turn around and use either my armor, my ward, or my regen save. One of those three. Plates of tuk-tuk, no idea. Flask of troll ale is so after his attacks, and he had strength 5 attacks, he got to re-roll. He got to roll an additional attack of troll vomit, but it was only either strength 4 or strength 5. I want to say it was strength 4. So then he had a Cave Goblin Chief that was his BSB that had the Cavern, Crown of the Cavern King. So that allowed his model on foot that was a goblin to have an 18-inch bubble for the BSB. I'm still trying to think on how I think about it, on how I feel about that, because it was not a large target. But for those of us that know, I play dwarves, and the Throne gives the leadership bubble of 18 inches, but that's only going from leadership 9 to leadership 10 versus a reroll. It's interesting. Verdict's not out on my own personal opinions about it, but it definitely did come to play. It definitely did impact the game. And, he had fun with it. At the end of the line, my opponent had fun with his army, and that's what matters. He had a Witch Doctor out of Thaumaturgy, so that's another Kalon that had the Single of Glory, which we never use. So that's a bound item. The way the bound items work is that particular one, I believe, is to, because I took it too, is to +1 to hit, and so, and that's different than lightning reflexes, because if you have a great weapon, it strikes at initiative. This is just +1 to hit. With that, you use 2 dice and it goes off at 4, or you use 3 dice and it goes off at a 9. That's the automatic casting value. So no matter what, it is below average. But it forces your opponent to then go ahead and use dice, because unlike 1.3 and everything that's been since 8th or even going beyond 8th, it actually you don't get a bonus to dispel. You don't really get much of a bonus to cast either, but there's no bonus to dispel. So then we have 24 feral orc Edbashers with a mammoth stabber and the banner of the Relentless Company. You have 32 cave goblins with spears, shields, nets, 2 mad gits, and a banner of discipline. So the banner of discipline is you are not immune to panic. It allows you to, I believe, to re-roll panic unless your general or BSB is in the unit. Then you automatically pass your panic test. My attitude is if you're putting that on a unit, you're going to, it pretty much guarantees that whatever unit that's going into is going to have one of those 2 models. To me, that's what it guarantees. He had 24 Iron Oaks with Mykonos Totem. So the Mykonos Totem is, I have to reread it, but it takes away 1 special item. So the one interesting thing came up in our game, because I took the Green Knight unit, and it's where he has his own sword. So does that count as a special item that it can dispel or not? But it's not a magic item. So that's one I need to throw back at the creators and say, hey, this is what just came to be. Is this its intention or not? Because something tells me that that is not, that is rules as written, not rules as intended. But I didn't write it, so maybe it is rules as intended. Couldn't tell you. 2 wolf chariots, the Gargantula, the big green idol, which actually has been changed. Those of you who play the greenskins, the orcs and goblins, I'm sure that you've been spoiled with those changes. And the giant has nets. So, and I think it could have taken another weapon as well. And the one thing with all of these blocks, so the ferals, the goblins, the irons, they had full command. So that was Ryan's list. Here's my list. So I had a Duke with the Valor of Renown. So the Valor of Renown has been slightly nerfed. It no longer has lethal strike, and it's no longer D3+1. It's just on a natural roll of a 6, does that wound, it does D3 wounds. So the nerf was that it lost lethal strike, but the gain to it though was that you get no other special saves. So it's only armor saves that can be saved against that. So and because it's a weapon enchantment, so or it's a virtue, so you can turn around and let's say you're striking with a lance. The blessed weapon is a weapon enchantment, so that can be put on a lance, not just a hand weapon anymore. Okay, so now you're re-rolling to wound with a lance. So if you roll that 6, great. You don't roll the 6, still great, because you're still getting that armor and it still has divine attacks. So let's see, I made him Ground Knight. Believe it or not, I'm thinking I might change that. I think I might drop the Grail Virtue off of him. The Crusader Salvation is the +1 armor. I think it was Crusader's Helm before. +1 armor, reroll armor saves. It did get a slight nerf where it no longer has the immune to lethal strike. And I gave him a shield as well. So here I have 2 Damsels Third Depths. So basically they're good old-fashioned level 2 mages. Both on war horses. One's got a +1 to cast. And the other one's got the Sigil of Glory, which is the +1 to hit, and the Gravity Horn, which is +1 to channel, so that equals you get 1 more Veil token. Believe it or not, the Sigil of Glory I'm probably going to drop from my list, so that's 60 points, and I'm going to keep the Gravity Horn. The reason why is with 2.0, you're choosing your spells. I already know what spells I'm using. I've already, so the question is or which two lures? So each one of those has two different lures, and now that there's a racial trait spell, which is reroll ones to hit, to wound, and armor saves, which has me going, I can use that. I can easily use that. So I'm in a happy place. Now my paladin, who does have the questing vow, is on foot. The fact that he has a questing vow, I didn't put it in here, but he comes with a bastard sword. A bastard sword on the first round of combat can be used as a spear or a light lance. So if he's mounted, it's a light lance. If he's on foot, it's a spear. So all of a sudden, now he's able to turn around and strike at initiative. He's got Virtue of Daring. That virtue, that has become perhaps my favorite virtue because now I'm putting him in a unit of Knights of Forlorn that has Swift Stride. And if that way I build that unit, it's meant to grind. So now, whoever my opponent is now has to turn around and beat up on that unit of Knights of Forlorn, which is now has hitting power, has more teeth to it. And on top of that, if you're engaged with that unit, my other units gain an additional D6 to my charge range, but dropping the lowest. So basically, let's say a unit of Knights which has Swift Stride, I'm rolling 3d6, drop the lowest. This is I roll 4d6 and I drop the two lowest. You still only get to accept 2 of the dice, but it gives you a better chance for that increased range. And anyone who's listened to any of my arguments regarding the dwarves is the more probability of having an increased range, the more useful your units are going to be. Now he's got the Faith of Percival, which is +1 to his ward save. So it's normally a 6+. Now they did change the blessing, so it's now a 6+. And if you pray, it's only against AP3. It becomes a 5+. I'm not sure how I feel about that because basically it doesn't become a 5+ until it's until basically you're getting hit with strength 6. But that's not always the case. But that's one of my issues right now. I don't think the blessing's where it needs to be. But if they drop the points a little bit more, then the blessing will be absolutely fine. I don't know. It's really, really close to right where it belongs. Now, so that's magic armor. You also see I have the Oakwood Parvis. That is a magic shield. Yes, I have 2 magic armor enchantments. One is on the actual armor. The other is on the shield because now each item can take a magic enchantment. So, but the thing is they really, it's tough to turn around and to find those nice little nuances that you can combo that way. But to me, this is one of them. It's +1. I'm trying to remember. It's +1 armor. I'm trying to remember what the negative was, but it was only like 15 points. So, and I took a Castellan, I believe it's called. I usually don't. Heavy armor, shield, and Hero's Blade. So the Hero's Blade is +1 strength, always counts as strength 5. So the way he is, he'd have 3, then he becomes 4 attacks, and when he's in the unit, he grants the unit a Peasant's Weapon Master. Okay, I can live with that. I've got 9 Knights of the Realm with a standard and a champ. I've got 30 Peasants full command with halberds. Again, that's meant to go in there with the Castellan. And now I've got either sword and board or I have halberds. It depends what I want to use. Bowmen, crossbows, the Green Knight. So the Green Knight's still 360. In my opinion, he's still overcost for what he does. However, they definitely, I think, have the model where the model belongs. I don't think he's priced appropriately. Now, with that said, is he stubborn? Basically, he crumbles like a demon. he's got a, if you take, he has a 6-up blessing, so 6-up ward save. If you take the blessing, it's a 5, it becomes a, he's thrice blessed, so it's +1 to a maximum of 4. So it becomes a 5+, and then if he's hit with anything that's going to be AP 3 or greater, it becomes a 4+. So keep that in mind. He has a special rule that he can walk through other units. So it's a really, really good model. It just doesn't do what it needs to fully do yet. I think the big negative to it is that it turns around. Sorry, my son's trying to walk in here. And sorry, I had to take care of my son there for a sec. So the negative to the Green Knight is, first off, its cost. Secondly, the turn that it comes out, you don't get any channeling. So it's going to be an even dice mixture. So right now, being King of Equitane, first off, I'm much, much happier. It's a much, how to word this. The army itself is, it's fun to play again. Win, lose, or draw, it's fun to play because, I don't know, I feel like you have a chance, and I can do the essence of the army. But getting back, but here's the thing: is now with the Green Knight, it comes out, you lose that that channel ability. You take the blessing, you lose your bonus to for first turn. There's too many innate losses for the army that, whether or not they should be there or not, I think are reminiscent of that evil company, two-word company that needs to be burnt for what it did to fantasy. But there's just a couple of kinks. So between pricing and that one special rule, which why it's there, hey, I don't know. But otherwise, I really think it's pretty neat itself, though. So it has to be has to be placed start of a turn, which it could be placed start of turn 1, 6 inches away from your from one of your damsels. So if you take the Green Knight, you have to take a damsel. Then, if it's within 12 inches of the damsel, it gets stubborn. So that's all I can say is there's a lot of benefit, and I like that ability, but 360 points equates out to an old 180. I haven't seen it yet get its points. I think that's my issue. So next is my 9 Knights of the Quest with the Banner of Roland. So those of us that remember Talisman of Roland that had to be put on a character, they changed that to a banner. So only one unit can take it, and that unit also has a champion. So standard bearer champion. And then 20 Knights of Forlorn with a banner and a champion, and a reliquary. So the Knights of the Quest and the Knights of Forlorn, they lost the multi-wound 2 against gigantic models, so that would be Towering Presence. But the ability, so Knights of Forlorn, if they're charged, whatever charge them, if it has a devastating charge special rule, or then the opponent loses that special rule. So that's great. That right there has me going, I like this unit even that much more. It comes with the blessing. There are a couple different ways that you can mitigate it, so it's more survivable. Also, the reliquary, which is, as you can see, is the next thing. That actually goes in not the peasants, but the Knights of Forlorn. It has the blessing. It no longer grants the blessing. It no longer is stubborn. So by putting it in Knights of Forlorn, it grants a fight an extra rank. It also grants that the unit has +1 armor when in combat. So now the Knights of Forlorn, which have 4+, with the reliquary, if you so choose to put it in there, now has a 3+ armor. So the character that's in there, which has a 3+ armor, now has a 2+ armor. That, to me, was a very good combination. And then 5 mounted yeomen, basic, light lance, and a bow on a horse. That's that. So those are our armies. Here's the battlefield. Yes, I know it looks like 40K, and I'm calling the company so I can get the correct mat. Also, some of the dimensions aren't perfect on that thing. So I'm not going to say what company I got it from, but it is a normal company to get these gaming mats on, and I understand why some people have not been truly happy with them, because it's about half-inch short. So anyway, we had a Dawn Assault deployment. So the way Dawn Assault deployment works, 12-inch from table edge, and then 18 inches from a short table edge, okay, or is dead zone. So 12 by 18 is a dead zone, and then you get the other 12 by, let's see, it's normally 6 foot, so 4.5 feet. So plenty of room, no issues, but it's opposite corners. So it's meant that the two units swing into each other. So it's really good to turn around and place an anvil so that's where they have to turn in place. But that's why you see the board skewed the way it is. So on the far side, I threw down my knights. In the middle there, I have my forlorn. I've got my mounted yeoman. And then my peasant archers, and I've got the crossbows on the other side. Again, I dropped first, so I had that chance for first roll, and you don't choose to take the blessing until it's time to roll for first turn. So if he completely screws up his deployment, you can then turn around and say, I'm not going to choose to pray, I'm just going to take first turn, or anything else. So as it is, I lost the roll. I rolled a 2. I looked at him like, you have first, and he rolled a 4. So here's that crown, that goblin crown, which is what, let me go back to this. So this is our vanguards. That unit of goblins is vanguarded up. So as I said, first turn, that green token that you see there, that's the comet, and I'm pretty sure he releases his mad gits at this point in time. That's it. So during my turn, I don't know why I forgot to take a... Oh no, I just took a picture because this is what occurred. So he releases mad gits. Nothing else occurred that turn. He releases mad gits, and it hit my peasants, killing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 peasants because I declared a charge. I needed a 9. I rolled an 8. So close. I missed Swift Stride with dwarves. But I was so close to making that charge, and he was going to take it. And had the peasants gone into the spearmen, I liked my odds because of the character. And I could have used hand weapon shield. So I actually may put, rather than halberd, spears in that unit, but I won't lie, I don't know yet. I may just be dropping most of the goodies on that unit and go bare minimum, if not just dropping it completely, maybe take another unit of knights. I don't know. I'm still tinkering around there. So there's that. Here's how the board looks. Now you can't see that token anymore because one of my units is sitting on top of the token. I didn't want to just throw my units up in the wind and do some Hail Marys, which I probably should have. I just didn't want to do it. So the comet comes down. The comet kills his other mad git at the end of magic phase. It kills 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 archers. It kills, how many there? 3. Yeah, 3 peasant levy. It kills 1, 2, 3, 4 Knights of Forlorn. I know that those aren't Knights of Forlorn models. The other models aren't painted yet. And it puts 1 wound on the Green Knight. So you see his 2 dice there. That was his first set of dice that he rolled. He rolled 12 hits on that unit. 12. And out of 12 hits, he did 1 wound. So I was pretty. We looked at it. He's like, "You got lucky." I'm like, "Yep, better lucky than good." I'm not going to doubt. I'm not going to persuade you there. So during my turn, oh, and I turned around. I chaffed him up there. I forgot to take. So this is actually my turn movement. So I turned around. I moved the peasants. I just maneuvered the levies, or not the levies. Failed charge with the levy. Moved up the forlorn and moved up the rest of the knights. And I popped the green knight out, and that's where the green knight ends up. So going here, so if you see where, sorry to be flipping back and forth, if you see on this picture, I have the peasant yeoman sitting in front of his chariots. The reason why I did that, I didn't want him to get the charge off and basically call out his war cry to turn around and get more than just them in there. I wanted to kind of let him be around the bush. So I figured if he turn around and if he issues a charge with the chariots, flee. If he turns around and declares a charge or take the charge from the chariots, puts the chariots more where I want them. I charge them, they flee. I'm fine with that. Then, if he charged with the giant, or if, let's say he charged with the chariots and then he charged with the giant as well, thinking, hey, I'll just get everything in there. They were going to flee and go through the terrain. That was my original thought. And if he had charged with his big green idol, it still would have just turned around and fled. So we already went through all that. Now, if you notice, I have shooting. I just haven't mentioned my shooting before because it didn't do anything. So I have 15 crossbows. I have 15 bowmen and 5 yeomen. 5 yeomen turned around and did 2 wounds on the chariots. So as I said, during his turn, they fled. So this is during his declare charges. I lost 2 of them. And that's how the board looks. So after his movement, he failed charge, and now his giant is turning around and blocking his chariots. Yeah, that's basically it. During his magic phase, it was a 5 to 3, 5, 7 magic phase. So the way it works is we have the base number of dice, but you get veil tokens. For every 3 veil tokens, unless you have a special item, it allows you to convert X number of veil tokens into power dice. So it makes it for a more stable magic system. It's a little boring, but it's more stable, because the biggest complaint was rolling those double 1s or the 2s and 3s. I mean, it sucks. So it allows you to actually do things. The problem is and the miscast table is a lot more forgiving, and it's harder to miscast. However, I'm trying to remember. So he rolled whatever dice, and he cast a comet, and he rolled 3 6s. I looked down, I'm like, you just miscast. He goes, yep. I looked at my dice, I'm like, odds are I'm not going to stop this. He goes, nope. So I rolled the dice anyway, just why not? And nope, it went off. So if you remember, I had said he used thaumaturgy. He rolled 666s. And 666s becomes 777s because it's still +1 on the miscast chart. And he blew himself up. It is removed as a casualty, period, end of statement if you have 777s. He goes, crap. Oh well. So that was definitely different. Let's see. So now it's going to be Equitane turn 2. So I charged his goblins. His goblins fled through his Edbashers there. So part of my mistake is I redirected. And I redirected right into the Edbashers. And I said to him, I was like, I don't think I'm going to make it, but this way I can, kind of keep them more or less centered, even though the other unit's right behind them. And I made the charge. I'm like going, crap, that's not what I wanted. Oh well. Then and so this is so he turns around, and that's how it looks. And if you see, he's been sneaking up that spider going around the flank there. And I charged the giant with my quests, and he fled. I turn around, and I got the green knight out of dodge. Everything else I don't care about. Even though the Knights of Forlorn are one of my anchors, I just don't think it's going to do enough damage to me for a single turn. So there's how they look there. Now, I'm trying to remember why I took this picture here. Oh, because I made the charge. Now, going back, part of my tactic, if you see where the spider is, spider's positioned very well to go right down my flanks. And what he would do is simply, he's going to turn around, he's going to kill my peasant levy. He's going to charge and force them to flee, being the peasant archers, because of terror, low leadership. And then they're just going to keep and then he'll redirect and charge into the Knights of Forlorn. Because I no longer have multi-wound 2, but I'd be wounding on 4s, +1 to hit, immune to the effects of fear, with a BSB. Actually, I probably should have let that happen. So what I did instead, though, which was and again, another mistake. I've not played with this army for over a year, I want to say, like, well enough. I've used it, but nothing like this, where now I'm trying to find very fitful, very tactful armies. So I maneuvered over the Knights of Forlorn. I did 2-inch shuffle, and I made sure that they were 6 inches from my BSB. So now they had leadership 8, rerollable leadership 8. And there's that. There's that. So not Hand of Heaven. I don't know. Big rock from the sky turns around, comes down, only kills 2. But he there in that combat, and that's all he did. Or he killed 1 knight with the that knight. That's why I have that picture there as well. That knight that died is because whatever spell I cast, I forget what it was. I rolled triple 3s, and triple 3s is 2d6 because I rolled 4 dice, strength 4, AP 1. Once I re-rolled all my armor and everything else, I took 1 wound. Pretty happy about that. And yeah, that was just ugly, ugly combat. He actually ate that entire unit to a man. Actually, no. I had like probably what you see there, but they broke and fled. It was an auto break. So that needs to get re-glued back onto my general, but still looks cool. That is now Orc Goblin turn 3. So he goes ahead, he rallies his goblins, his Ed Batchers go into the peasant archers, the spider. He's like, I don't need the spider to go into them. I'm going to try. You know what? Leadership 8. I'm going to just simply march around them and go after those forlorn. And honestly, I kind of wish he had, but he didn't. So we'll see another one of my mistakes. He got his chariots into my knights, and he charged his general out of the unit. And I looked down, I'm like, why? He's like, I just want to see what he does. I'm like, okay, we'll dice it out. We'll see what happens between your general versus my general. I just don't think anything's going to happen. And, I've got ranks and all this other stuff. So by charging him in with the chariots, you're actually dooming your general. And the thing is by leaving him in the unit of Iron Orcs, now that unit loses its bodyguard or loses stubborn. So there's that charge. Impact hits. So he turns around, he does his impact hits. Kills 5 of my knights. 5. Not a happy camper. But I turn around and my general, 2 wound, rolled triple sixes. So my general himself did 3 wounds, or not 3 wounds. He did 5 wounds by himself onto his chariots. That was great. So I end up winning combat, and it breaks. I'm trying to think as to how it dies. I really can't remember how it dies. Eventually, I do that one remaining wound to it. Over here, he turns around and he just makes mass murder of those peasants. And I don't know what happens to the rest of my pictures. I really don't. Um, so it was getting real late, to the point it was like 2 o'clock. I'm like, Ryan, I didn't want to call the game, the last turn. And then he's like, oh, well, it's really quick. And I'm like, all right, we'll keep playing a little bit. So finally, it's 2:30 in the morning, or two. That's after 2:30. I'm like, Ryan, I'm done. I'll give you the game. So long story short, I charged in the Knights of Forlorn into the Ed Bashers. I wanted to see what Forlorn could do. That's why I did it. It is not a good matchup. Okay, he has too many attacks at high strength. That's going to negate my armor, but not a high enough AP to give me that ward save, which is why I don't like the blessing where it is. I think it should be at -2 AP. They get 5-up ward, or maybe just give it to Forlorn specifically, because they don't have a horse. That's it. He loses his Black Orcs. My questing knights end up getting regrown back to her full health because I do have Summer Growth. And I charged his general, and I failed to break him. I kept winning combat, but I failed to break him because his 18-inch bubble from his BSB, and he would fail the first one and then make the second one. So good job there. So what was originally supposed to happen is, so after killing his chariots, I charged into his general. It becomes a pillow fight there, because and that's all I can say. So it's a great big whiff. And he can't. My general's making all his armor and ward saves. His general is making his armor saves, and his general is also T6 for whatever reason. I end up losing my green knight to the giant. He loses his iron orcs to the green knight and the knights of the realm, because without the character in there, they don't have bodyguard. I have ranks, and the Green Knight actually did his job against the Iron Orcs, killing about three or four Iron Orcs. My Knights of the Realm, because of the Mounted Yeoman, and we lined it up as best as we could only get against 3 models, or against 1 model. So that only gave him a rank of 3. Broke him, ran him down, and killed them. And then I charge my Green Knight into the Giant, thinking, okay, I'll take out that Giant. No, it doesn't. His Giant actually kills the Green Knight. So again, it's just not worth the points yet. We'll figure out something, but yet. It's just not worth those points yet. I think you either lower the points or give it something else. My attitude is lower the points. But that's me. That's my opinion. And I want to make sure I say this. That is my opinion. So going back to the Knights of Forlorn against the Ed Bashers, I actually go 4 rounds of combat against those Ed Bashers. I got those Ed Bashers down to 8 models before I lost everything in that unit. And he's like, that freaking Knights of Forlorn unit. So that has become one of my new favorite units. I will say, though, that's 1,000 points. Between the Reliquary, the Knights of Forlorn, which is the way it is 480, and the BSB. But it was just a bad matchup. I would have had to treat that unit differently, and because of Bodyguard, the way his general's kitted out, I just didn't have a good answer for the Iron Orcs until he took his general out of the unit. Once his general was out of that unit, no questions asked. I finally had an answer for that unit. What else occurred? That's it. We both end up with objectives because I ended up with the those. I know they're archers, but I was using those crossbowmen because my crossbows aren't put together yet. They end up on that token there, and meanwhile, his goblins are sitting on the other token. But we didn't go the distance. It would have been interesting because I could have possibly charged the Knights of Realm into them. I don't know. He ends up charging the Gargantula into the rear of my Knights of the Quest, and the big green idol goes into the flank. And we didn't roll that combat, but I'll say this, with the big green idol in my flank, with his general in my front doing a pillow fight, and then nothing happened. He would maybe do a wound to my general, and that was it. Nothing. As I watched my older daughter do something funny. My older, I mean, these are all older models too, for the most part. But it was a huge pillow fight. And I will say this: I enjoyed having the two damsels because neither one was a master, but it opened up my spell lore. And what I found is that if there's a happy medium for what you're able to do and able to get. So the question is why are you taking more magic? Are you taking it for the spell options, or are you taking it for the magic items, or are you taking it for the versatility? So for me, I want versatility. I like Druidism, getting my knights back. Now I don't have a master, so I can't do stone skin, but I could do lots of other different things. I like having that, okay, I should have taken Master of Earth and said, fine, here's a strength 6 right at you. I like having Stars Align. I like having Scrying. I like having Know Thy Enemy. So there's lots of different purposes, and honestly, the racial trait spell for Equitane is really, really good. So it's about 240. I looked at them. I go, Ryan, game's yours. It's 3 a.m. It's going to be 3 a.m. I'd rather talk to you about the armies and ask you what you think, because we have a team tournament. So down in Virginia, I still have to turn around and go online and pay for it, but it's in February, and it's if you turn around, it's Wargaming from the Balcony. I think is hosting, and Todd Wyatt's going to be the TO. I believe we're slotted to do 2.0. If not, I'm going to do a whole massive army change and see if I can get enough stuff painted. But that's what we're gaining for. It's a team tournament, so they're going to be for teams of 4. And I'm looking forward to it. It's supposedly it's ETC style. I don't care. So I'm captain for, of course, Team Green Dragons, Team GD. And my attitude for these type of tournaments is the more well-rounded lists that you have, the better you're going to do. I know you can have those lists that, okay, you're not going to give up as many points, but you're still have that potential to lose. You're still going to lose, but you're not going to lose as much. I'm like, you know what? You're paying to be there. You're paying to have fun. No, play what you want to play. Have fun with it. We'll keep playtesting and we'll keep doing tweaks to your army until it's the best army you can put together and then go from there. So for me, the MVPs for this game was his Iron Orc War Boss. That thing not breaking for like 4 rounds of combat was key. And for me, it was the damsels, because the impact is, hey, killed 5 Knights of the Quest. Hey, then the 5 Knights came back. It allowed me to have -1 to hit. It allowed me to have reroll misses. So it allowed me to regain wounds. That there, the combo of the 2 damsels, I think was great. So I'm not sure I'm going to be fielding masters with this unit. I think I'm just going to keep it as 2 2 adept damsels. But I'm going to be playing around, so you'll probably see different lists. Any questions, comments, concerns, please go ahead and reach out to me, and I'll gladly respond in time. Until then, till next time, happy gaming.